Hi, welcome to Lightspeed Academy. I'm Jim Cooper, and thanks for joining me for this final React Lightspeed session on accessing API data with useEffect. So far, our application has been getting its data from this products.json file. You can see that in our product listing component, where we import the products from products.json and use that to render our list of products. But typically, we'd get data like this from an API call. I've gone ahead and created a new simple API server right here. So if I open up my terminal and open a new terminal window, I can change directory into the API server directory and npm start that. And now you can see that's running on port 8081. So if we jump over to our browser, I can navigate to localhost 8081/API/products. And here is all of our product data. So let's update our product listing component to get this data from our API. So first, in our product listing component, let's stop importing our products from our products.json file. And now we're going to use the useState hook from React to track our product state. If you're not familiar with useState, check out the useState video earlier in this playlist. But we're going to go ahead and call useState down here to create our products variable and set products function. And we'll set our initial state to an empty array. This is important because our API call will be an asynchronous call, and until it returns, we need our products variable to be set to a valid value. All right, now typically when you call an API in JavaScript, you use the fetch API. We're not going to dive into the fetch API, but you can read more about it. It just provides functionality for accessing APIs in JavaScript. So we're going to go ahead and use fetch to call our API at http localhost 8081 API products. And then we need to convert the response to JSON like this. If you're not familiar with this .then syntax, this is just using JavaScript promises because the fetch call is asynchronous. And then finally, we're going to take that JSON response, which is going to be a products array. So we'll receive that into an arrow function, and then we will call our setProducts function and pass in this products array. So just know that what's happening here is we're calling our API, and then we're passing the array returned from our API into our setProducts function to set the product state for our component. Okay, that was a lot, but we still have a few problems here. First of all, we're going to get cross-origin or CORS errors if we try to access an API on a different port from our application. So what I really need to do here is make this a relative URL like this. And in production, this isn't a problem because typically your API will be exposed on the same domain as your running website. But this is not the case in development typically. So to help with this in our development environment, we can set up a proxy to proxy calls from /API to port 8081, which is where our API is running. Because we used create React app to generate our app, we can just open up our package.json file and just add a proxy field here. And then we can give it the URL of our API server. So basically what this does is it lets our dev server know to send any unrecognized requests to this URL. And requests to /API will not be recognized because that's not part of our React application. And so all of our /API calls will get redirected to port 8081. And we'll need to stop and restart our React dev server after adding that proxy. Okay, now that that's running, we jump over here. There we go. We can see that our product data is being loaded from our API. If we look at our network, you can see that it's making API calls here to our API's product endpoint. But we have a problem. You can see this is making infinite calls. We've now made over 700 requests to this product's API endpoint. So this is because calling our product's API and then setting the product state is a side effect, meaning it changes the state of our application. And whenever you have a side effect like this, you should wrap it inside a useEffect hook. We're getting our infinite loop because we're not doing that. This is because we make an API call, which changes the state of our component, which causes our component to re-render, which then again makes our API call, creating an infinite loop. So to solve this, we need to import useEffect from React. And then we can wrap our fetch call inside useEffect. And the first parameter that you pass into useEffect is the function that you want to call. So we'll create a new arrow function here that inside that function will make our fetch call. And then the second parameter that you can pass into useEffect is an array of items that React should watch. And if any of those items change, it will recall this function. In our case, we only want to call this function once when our component first loads. So we'll just pass an empty array. Okay, so now if we go take a look at our app and open up our console again, On the network tab when we refresh, you can see it just makes a couple of calls to our API as it's bootstrapping the component, and then it stops. So this is working as we'd expect now. So as a reminder, there are 4 core pieces to making API calls in React. First, use the fetch API. Second, use useState to store the retrieved data. Third, make sure you set up your proxy for use in development. And lastly, wrap it all in a useEffect call. And that's it for making API calls in React. And that's it for this playlist on React. Congratulations, and I hope you've learned a lot along the way. If you've missed some of the earlier content, here's the entire Lightspeed React playlist. And of course, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see other content we're putting together. Thanks, and as always, keep learning at Lightspeed.